Hi everyone. Okay, so today I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison. I did a page, an art journal page, using almost exclusively the Donna Salazar mixed media inks. These are what they look like if you haven't seen them before. They're made by Colorbox, and they're really super juicy inks. And I wanted to give everyone a comparison. I think most people know what distress inks do and how they react. So I think that this would be a good comparison to see what the major differences are between the Donna Salazar mixed media inks and the Tim Holtz Distress inks. I love both of these inks. I think they're both great for different techniques. So let's do a couple different techniques, see how they compare, and show you how you can use one for one thing and one for the other and actually use them together. So let's get started.
Let's compare some inks. So this is my favorite Scripty stamp. I'm going to stamp it with first the Distress ink in Faded Jeans, and I did it twice, and then with the Donna Salazar mixed media inks, and I'm also going to do the same thing. So what I do to one index card, I'm going to do to the other, just with the different ink. Now obviously the ink colors are slightly different, so that's not going to be perfect, but at least we're getting a comparison to see. The mixed media inks do take longer to dry. They have a longer open time, essentially. The Distress inks much quicker to dry. So, but they also don't get as good a stamp, in my opinion. I'll show you at the end a comparison of the two. So now I'm just using an ink blending tool, and I'm going straight in with the same color that I stamped with. This is the Faded Jeans, and just blending. Now same thing with the patina in the mixed media inks. This color is really pretty. It's like a periwinkle. I got as close as I could to each other in the color palette between the two inks, but they do have different shades. So now if you'll notice, I grabbed another ink pad or another index card just to wipe off the excess, and I did the same thing with the Distress ink just to be fair, to see how much ink was actually still left loaded in your ink blending tool, and you can see the massive difference. Now this is Barn Door. Admittedly, it pulls more orange than the Schoolhouse, which is almost it's a purpley red, versus the Barn Door, which is an orangey red. So, but I got as close to the colors as I could. So again, they're going to be slightly different. So again, I'll review everything. I'm just walking you through what I'm doing right now. And again, I wiped off the stuff on my ink pads on the bottom index card. That's all those are. So then I splattered water, because that's what distress inks are known for, is their water reactiveness. And the mixed media inks, I think because they were dry, did not react. I think if I would have not dried them first, they would have reacted. But the Distress inks had already dried and they still reacted, so that's kind of, if you want to go with a splotchy, watery look, Distress inks win on that. So now I'm stamping with a, this is a pot holder, but it's got this cool hexagon design. Distress inks on the left, mixed media inks on the right. And again, the mixed media inks take longer to dry, but I think you get a clearer stamp. They're juicier, they're more pigmented. And my Distress ink pad is an older pad, but I have used the ink pad refresher, and I have re-inked it as well. So there should be plenty of ink in it. Now this is kind of a fail on both parts. The stamp, I should have flipped upside down and pushed the paper onto the stamp versus stamping with it, just because it's a negative stamp. So neither did very well on this one. The Distress ink, I think, did a little bit better. You can see a couple of the stars a little bit better, but again, I think that they both would have done fine had I flipped them upside down, because like I said, the Donna Salazar inks stamp really well. Now this is white pen. I wanted to see how white pen would react on top, so I wrote on the left Tim Holtz Distress inks, on the right Donna Salazar mixed media inks. As you can see, the Tim Holtz Distress inks kind of soaked the pen right into it, so that was kind of a fail. black Stabilo pen. That worked quite well on both. Just doodling around the edges. And then I used the thin Stabilo pen, the yellow one, to write a message, and the message is, which do you prefer? So watch the next couple minutes, and I will walk you through the how they compared.
Okay, guys, so I think that's going to be my major comparison between the two. So what you saw was blending them using an ink blending tool, and I used 3 similar colors. I used the mixed media inks in Schoolhouse and Distress Ink in Barn Door, mixed media inks in Patina, Distress Ink in Faded Jeans, and mixed media inks in Black and Distress Ink in Black Soot. And the mixed media inks are more opaque, so when you blend them, the background stamp, the scripty stamp, is pretty much gone. There's a couple spots I think you can see it, but for the most part it's gone. Whereas on the Distress Ink ones, it's slightly visible still. It's a very fine stamp, but I wanted to show how they stamped. Speaking of stamping, I think the mixed media inks stamped a little bit better. They were more visible because they're more pigmented, but you get a very softer look with the Distress Ink. So again, it just depends on what you're going with. With these blended beautifully. Look, they came with this really purple color when the blue and the red mixed. Whereas on this one, it got a little, I don't want to say muddy, but it got a little orange, which I know the Barn Door pulls a little bit more orange in the reds, but I was expecting a little bit more of a purple color from those. So it could have just been the color choice on my part, because I do know that Distress Inks blend beautifully. On the solid stamping, it was a tie. I think it's honestly probably because the stamp that I used works better if you flip the stamp upside down and then put the paper on top of it. So, you know, that I'm going to call that a draw. And the black stamping, which was, I wanted to do a little bit more fine stamping since the script stamp kind of disappeared. Again, I think that the Donna Salazar inks, they're a little bit juicier, they're more pigmented, so I think that one kind of pulled ahead in that one. And then as far as the white pen, I was actually really shocked on this one. The Distress Inks, for some reason, you really can barely read that I wrote Tim Holtz Distress Inks on it. Whereas the Donna Salazar mixed media inks, the white pen, I think probably, again, because these are water-based, so it probably just reactivated that color, and so it faded the white into the background. Whereas when these dry, you know, they dry. So I think that's the huge major difference there. And these were just the leftovers, what was left over on my applicators. As you can see with the Distress Inks, you get a much paler color. And, you know, the stamping obviously, again, wasn't as clear. There's the stamping. And then on the Donna Salazar inks, because, again, I equate these to a blend between ink and paint, I think that these give so much more extra color. So that's really beautiful. I mean, you can see really the difference, especially here. And sorry, my hand keeps moving. My kid's hanging on to me. See, look. So there's that. The black worked beautifully on both. As far as the brush marker, which was the Stabilo pen. The thin Stabilo pen, however, I think is a lot more visible on the Distress Ink. And I think, again, that's because these are opaque. So the colors are a lot darker. They're a lot more intense. So it's easier to see on the paler colors. The one area that the Distress Ink definitely won was the water reactiveness. It really did nothing to the mixed media inks. You can kind of see a little bit here, but really nothing in comparison to this. So that's really where the beauty of the Distress Ink comes in. So I kind of compare the Distress Inks to the watercolor of the ink world, whereas the Donna Salazar mixed media inks are more the acrylic paint of the ink world. So, and that's not a real thing, so don't go around saying, oh yeah, it's acrylic ink or acrylic paint, because it's not. But as far as comparing the two media, that's kind of how I would separate them. So if you want some really super intense colors, grab your mixed media inks from Donna Salazar. If you want some pale colors with some awesome water blendy techniques, grab the Tim Holtz Distress Inks. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. I see a lot of potential for both. I can imagine mixing the two together, which I didn't want to do in this video. I just wanted to show a straight comparison with similar colors. So I'm curious. Tell me which one you like more. You know, these index cards, that's the one Cole likes more. These index cards were just used for just comparison. So there's the Donna Salazar mixed media inks. And here is the Tim Holtz Distress Ink. So I will take some pictures of these and put them at the end. Let me know which one you like more. Again, Cole likes that one. I like that one. So let me know which one you like more, and tell me how you would use these two together. Or if you would prefer one over the other, or if you just want them all, because I know I want them all. So, hope you like them, and hope you enjoyed this comparison.
Too.
And peace out, apparently. So, talk to y'all soon. Bye.